Listen, we all took losses, workers the hood bosses, 9 to 5ers, drug dealers, the hood worship, hood hoop stars who could've went to the league, but they whole game went to the weed. Little girls trapped in the crib off the strength of they seeds. Some older had her bent in the V. She was used to them Reeboks, but he got them rims that keep spinning when the V stops. So when the V stopped, she stopped. He got right, took flight. Now her little daughter needs socks, and the grandmother need rocks, cause she a victim of these street blocks. The hood is a wall and it's not made of sheetrock. It's made of project bricks, elevators full of project. Incinerators is the project's niche. That's where you find old wick checks and notices from housing, cause Miss Malcolm ain't paid her rent yet.
I can't go back. I got to stay on track. Let go, gain back. Baby, baby, you can't stop. I can't go back. I got to stay on track. Let go, gain back. Baby, baby, you can't stop.
The place called Illadel, where real killers dwell. Dealers sell, keep the hood on lock like citadels. Imagine a war zone, nobody wanna leave. Younger G's, they busting shots during summer league. And shorty 23, no job with 5 kids. Inviting all type of men up in the mom crib. We ain't convicts, just trying to survive, kid. My kids might have responded like Trayvon did. Try to explain it to my students out in Phoenix. They ain't squeamish, they seen it, so it ain't hard to believe it. Took losses. When my cousin hit that pipe, I spit portraits. I'll never forget that night. And cats might think I left town cause I couldn't make it. On the contrary, I left cause I couldn't take it. The murderers and the rapists, corrupt police and the fakers. I pray that you find peace for the day you meet your maker.
I can't go back. I got to stay on track. Let go, gain back. Baby, baby, you can't stop. I can't go back. I got to stay on track. Let go, gain back. Baby, baby, you can't stop.
You know it's crazy, but I never took the time to trip. I ain't seen a crackhead since like 96. My little homie slang pills to get that shiny Whether it's Nike kicks or designer whips, they sell the white chicks with Botox inside their lips. But when it come to red and blue, they on that grimy shit. I know a gang of bloods and all kind of crips that let shots fly like Hawkeye when it's time to trip. But not as accurate, cause accidents happen. A little girl struck by stray bullets in a room napping. Some rappers glorify, but only more would die. My grandma at Kingdom Hearts, she looking towards the sky. She looking for a why. I'm trying to show them how. You could come up from these streets and still make it out. Right now we need soldiers, we don't need bosses. We gotta take a stand, I'm sick of taking losses.
We all took losses. We all took losses. We all took losses. We all took losses.
Might be the one, I'm the topic of the day. If you ain't getting no money, why you all up in my face? You be stressing about your girl, I be stressing about my cake. If you owe me and you waiting, then murder be the case. Hey, first all, I'm not kidding. Big boss and he serious. 7-11 on the dice game. Rose gold, my diamond chain. You broke boy, that's a real curse. I flex hard cause I really earn it. I know some people that know some people for the right price, they'll gon' sweep you. More money, more problems. More money, more problems. I had to stack it to the ceiling just to solve all of my problems. More money, more problems. More money, more problems. If you ain't getting no money, they don't wanna stand by you. More money, more problems. More money, more problems. I had to stack it to the ceiling
We on top. We on top. We gon' rock. Run DMC. Everything hot. We on top. We on top.
For anybody that's joining us right now, I apologize for the stream not starting right away. Just have to take care of a couple things, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the beats at the beginning, and then we will get into the conversation that we will be having about all these types of players. We talked about Ben Simmons. We're going to be talking about the Celtics, and of course we're going to be talking about looking at the 2017 class and seeing who deserves a max extension. So we're going to find out that relatively soon. So just hang tight and we'll see what we're going to come up with.
Game of life, food, a fresh player got lettuce, cabbage, cheese, average, please, no average keys, we establish fees. Cause we on top, we on top, we gon' rock, run DMC, everything hot. We on top, we on top, we won't be blocked, we ain't gon' stop, we got the drop. We on top, we on top, we gon' rock, run DMC, everything hot. We on top, we on top, we won't be blocked, we ain't gon' stop, we got the drop. Seraphim's in the field, Cherubim's been a real. I stay to the hill, got waves on the skrill, in the cat coupe the bill. Cause we got the moves, we shock the cool, we stop the crew, he not a fool, he got you schooled, you got the ooh. We on top, we on top, run DMC, run DMV, we run the blocks. We on top, we on top, we on top.
How do you sleep at night, knowing that your girl's at home having sleepless nights? How do you sleep at night, not knowing how you'll make money to keep on the lights? How do you sleep at night with knowing? How do you sleep at night not knowing? How do you sleep at night with knowing? How do you sleep at night not knowing? My girl's mom passed away, I was on tour. Not being there made me ask what I love more. I wasn't there to comfort her, wasn't there to support. On the road doing shows, so our calls were cut short. Late response to a text, no shoulder to cry on, cry on. But the crowd waves their hands and sings all the words to my songs, my songs. Plus I'm barely getting paid $100 a day. Riding with tour mates that don't carry the weight. Clam bacon, the trailer in zero tolerance states. Man, getting pulled over could've cost me a case. 10 bands on 2 credit cards. Man, it's getting hard. Ego prevents me from applying for a second job. I said I have no choice, I'll never be a quitter. What happens when what you love starts to make you bitter? How do you sleep at night, knowing that your girl's at home having sleepless nights? How do you sleep at night, not knowing how you'll make money to keep on the lights? How do you sleep at night with knowing? How do you sleep at night not knowing? How do you sleep at night with knowing? How do you sleep at night not knowing?
Human progress is neither automatic or inevitable. Every step requires sacrifice and suffering. Sometimes I wish God had given me another thing that didn't require such a complex schedule.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is that time again to get on your feet, stand up, and enjoy some Charge. I don't even know what I was going for in that intro, but welcome, guys, to, of course, The Charge. This is, of course, the daily episode where we go Monday through Friday just to talk about the latest news and rumors. We will be having actually a special on Saturday, depending on if the Gonzaga Bulldogs can stay COVID-free. Me and my boy Sean will be going live during their game and just kind of talking about what's going on. It's going to go against Luke Garza, who's considered one of the best, center prospects in this. Obviously, maybe not the number one pick or anything like that, but definitely a interesting prospect. We also have, of course, the Gonzaga Bulldogs that we're going to be looking at as well. But again, guys, welcome in once again to The Charge daily live stream. And today we're going to be looking over some of the highlights of the 76ers and the Celtics game, what concerns me more about Ben Simmons, and also what concerns me a lot more about the Boston Celtics as I watch their games. But nevertheless, just kind of want to start off by, seeing how everyone's doing so far out there in the world. It's kind of it's kind of gloomy here in Seattle. You know, the rain and kind of how early it or how dark it gets so early. So we're gonna see. You know, hopefully we can brighten up your day by just talking some basketball. We know there's actually gonna be some basketball games on tonight. Let me see what the preseason schedule looks like for tomorrow or for tonight for basketball. NBA. Yeah, so we have a couple games here today. We have the Cavaliers, Knicks, Bulls, Thunder, Trailblazers, Nuggets, Lakers, Suns. So we got a couple of actually interesting games. You know, I like to see a little bit more of the Bulls, seeing what they can do with their team. I also want to see the Nuggets, Bol, and Michael Porter Jr. kind of see what their development is. And also, you know what? Probably the star highlight of the Lakers, I should say, is Horton Tucker at this point. I think a lot of us are kind of interested to see what's going to be going on with him, as well as just kind of checking that out. But, you know, there's also very interesting storylines, of course, with the Knicks, with the Cavaliers, their rookie picks. I mean, this is going to be a very interesting draft scenario for a lot of teams. But before we start on talking about the first thing we're going to be talking about, please remember to hit that like button. Also remember to hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, guys. The more likes we get, the more the YouTube algorithm will tell us, hey, you know what? This channel is popping right now. Let's get you recommended to other channels. So if you guys could do me a huge favor and hit that like button to get the likes up. And also remember to hit that subscribe button if you're new. You know, we're less than 300 subscribers away from the magic 1,000. So if you guys can do me that huge favor, that'd be greatly appreciated. But let's talk about the first set of highlights here really quick as I just make sure that my stream is live and well. Alrighty, we're good there. Let's see here. Let's go to the 76ers highlights and just kind of see here what we're going to be looking at here. So, you know, we got the first highlights from the NBA. We're going to go directly from the NBA channel. And let me move over to the next scene here. Let's go live. Sorry if you guys can hear that. That reminds me, I need to turn my Bluetooth on for my headset. Let's see here. I believe it's this pair of headphones. I know I'm using like the old school Apple Pod, so that's why it looks a little bit different. But let's go over to the web browser, you know, make sure that we're looking at the right thing. Let's go here, 76ers versus Celtics, full highlights here. And let us make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see kind of what's going on in the background as we look at the 76ers and Boston Celtics highlights. So the one thing I want you to keep in mind, and I want you guys to kind of look along with me, is just to see the positioning of Ben Simmons, but also to watch the Celtics highlight as well. I just want you guys to really look at Ben Simmons' positioning in this team. And we'll just kind of watch it here. Sorry if there's no sound. Don't want to get copyright stricken. Actually, I think I can play it since it's a highlight. Actually, hang on one second. I hate when properties... Oh, why is it not there? Okay. Bear with me as I try to get the sound back. Let's see here. Please. Oh, here we go. Should be good now. Let's see. Yep. So just we'll watch a little bit of this highlight and kind of Tatum looking probably, you know, in his right form than I think ever. Tobias Harris looking, you know, trying to get back into that form. Good steal by Jaylen Brown, and this is going to be a good alley-oop.
The decision, just like the defenders should respect that dunk right there. Be competitive. It's going to be a competitive season.
Well, Harden is now in training camp with the Rockets.
Embiid still kind of looks like he's not in shape as much as I would like. But, you know, it's not necessarily that bad, I would say. Embiid, you know, still the jumper's still looking pretty for him. Taco. Wow, Taco Fall makes Dwight Howard look like a child. That's how tall he is. My lord. we'll also be talking about the Boston Celtics in this as well. There's some things I do like. There's some things I don't like. But we're just going to watch kind of this, like, I believe it's a 9-minute video. We'll kind of pause here. Ben Simmons with the nice finish there.
Seconds to go in this first quarter. There's
Milton,
Milton.
again, playing like a Lou Will. Like, he's actually going to be a really good player for them.
Jeff Teague on this team. He had a couple 30-point games last year, career high in assists just a couple seasons ago.
Jeff Teague.
You see right there, he can spread the floor, and I just look for him to be solid.
That time he's off the mark.
He's the Bob Cousy Award winner in college for the best point guard.
So I'm going to pause it there so we can kind of talk about it, because I believe Ben Simmons doesn't come back in this game. Or maybe he does for like a little bit. But the one thing that I did notice when it came to his highlights is that for the most part, there was a couple times where if Embiid had the ball, he's in the low block. He's kind of down low and basically not really in the frame of the play, not really doing much. And that really concerns me if I'm a 76ers fan, because the 76ers right now are kind of in a weird predicament, right? Where they have to, like, Doc Rivers is basically the surgeon, and he has to make sure that these two working body parts, or, Embiid and Simmons, have to work together to coincide with one another to even get this team to where they want to be, right? A lot of them want to be, NBA Finals. We were expecting this process to have the 76ers in the NBA Finals, but year after year, they've disappointed with the fact that, one, Embiid can't stay healthy, and two, Ben Simmons hasn't developed his game enough. And I think it's clearly evident by the highlights, and even just kind of looking at it. Like, we can even go back to, or we can even go to tonight's stats. I mean, let's go to NBA.com and see if we can find the stats for this game. What day was it? It was Tuesday, right? So if we go here, kind of watch the box score, we could rewatch this game if we wanted to. But more importantly, let's look at Ben Simmons' stats here. No 3-pointers attempted. 4 out of 5 free throws, 3 out of 5 from the field. So, and I believe about 26 minutes of gameplay. So for about 26 minutes, I'd expect Ben Simmons to kind of have the same stat line or the same kind of shot attempts as Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, but he even has less than Seth Curry. So that kind of goes to show you that right now, it's just not, like, Ben Simmons right now is just not working for them. And I think they need to start doing something, because to be honest with you, I'd rather have Milton in there. Milton only played 23 minutes, a little bit less than Ben Simmons, but still gave you a lot of production, not only from the three-point land, giving you rebounds, giving you assists, maybe had a couple of turnovers. But Ben Simmons, it's not looking like it's going to fit with Doc Rivers. And I'm curious to see if Doc Rivers could trade him. Because right now, Ben Simmons is kind of disappointing me as someone who had so much high hopes for him at LSU to where he's at right now. I understand, you can't overreact in the preseason, right? But the preseason is where you show what you've been working on during the offseason. I understand that the 76ers were in the playoffs, but they got eliminated pretty early in the playoffs. So I would expect them to be working, or at least Ben Simmons to be working on that three-point shot, but also to be working on his game to get other guys involved. He had, I believe, 6 assists with 3 turnovers, so a positive ratio at a +3 ratio in the assist to turnovers. But still a little bit disappointing if I am a 76ers fan, because at the end of the day, you want Ben Simmons to be very lethal as it comes to shooting and as it comes to stretching the floor, because like we saw in those highlights, no one was passing to him when he was on the wings. And 2, when Embiid has the ball, he's already, moved into the low block. So it just kind of goes to show you that really him in the half-court set, that's where the area he needs to improve in. And right now, I just haven't seen it to the point where I'm like, yes, this is going to be the guy that you can build your franchise around, or this is the guy that you want to keep and not Joel Embiid. And so I think Ben Simmons is going to probably be traded, and I think it might be for the best. I think the year that the 76ers kind of tanked for Joel Embiid and kind of that draft class, I think that was the guy that they were going for. They ended up getting Ben Simmons as well, and I just don't think Ben Simmons has panned out the way that I think a lot of fans and a lot of people wanted him to. But at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm not really impressed with Ben Simmons, but let's continue watching the highlights really quick.
You better draft him if you're the Celtics.
Putting a move on Teague through the foul. It counts, and Korkmaz will go to the line.
such a high level at home that if you get used to not playing a certain way on the road.
Korkmaz thought he was tripped up trying to get it inside. Here's Pritchard on the break for Williams, and he puts it down. Robert Williams, 3-year man out of Texas A&M in the starting lineup tonight. Nice move there by Dwight Howard. 37-28. Sixers in front. Tatum not able to hit, but it's put down again by Williams.
Add a lot to a team of youngsters and just show them how to be professional every day.
Embiid going right at Williams. Philadelphia, meanwhile, shooting 55% from the field.
And we kind of see here a great move again. Like Joel Embiid, like let me pause the video here. I know I'm probably going to go on tangents here, but Joel Embiid is always going to get that shot. Joel Embiid is always going to be looking for the jumpers because I think that's kind of where he wants his game to be. But the one thing that I think he should be doing more of is just kind of more low block. I understand that game or that part of the game is dead to some degree, but I do think that that is something that he should be looking more to do because I think he's probably one of the more unstoppable guys in the league as it pertains to in the low block. I understand that bigs now have to shoot the Barack, have to kind of space the floor so it allows the other guys to get involved. A lot of kick outs to guys that get open from their motion sets and all that stuff. But I do think that if you can get Joel Embiid to just be a little bit more dominant, I think you could get the same result as everybody collapses in, kick out to the corner, kick out to the far side, and you are able to get a lot of assists from Joel Embiid as well. So, I want to see a little bit more of that as it pertains to Joel Embiid, as it pertains to them growing and developing. So we'll see what happens here as they continue to kind of do their thing. But excuse me. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys make of the 76ers so far? Did you watch their preseason game last night? Let me know in the comment section.
Really can space the floor, and that's all really good players need. Just the space because it keeps them comfortable, and you can't.
Semi Ojeleye. We got Grant Williams.
This is Grant Williams.
Grant Williams with the great finish. Joel Embiid again off the post. Ben Simmons just, at the beginning of the play, he's out of it. Obviously, as soon as Tobias Harris makes his move, then you see Ben Simmons kind of dashing in and trying to help, get the offensive rebounding. But I do think that, he's just not in a position to be looking like that in terms of, staying out that far. Because, you saw how, let's look back on the highlight that happened here, right? Look how far back or how deep in that Jaylen Brown is compared to the rest of his teammates, right? Or compared to the rest of the guys on the floor. Already sunk in because we know that Ben Simmons is not going to be able to shoot. And obviously, if you're Ben Simmons, you dash in, see if you can get that offensive rebound. But at the same time, what I'm finding it kind of curious. Hey, Sean, how you doing, man? We're just kind of going over some 76ers and Celtics highlights just to kind of talk about how they looked in the preseason. I'm not convinced with Ben Simmons at all. As I was kind of saying, he's not going to be a threat out here, right? He's not even prepared to shoot. Even Seth Curry, I believe, who's in the corner as well, is not prepared to shoot. This is where, you have to look to get ready to shoot. A lot of times you see a lot of guys standing, and that's just bad habits. That's just habits that I understand that every player does. No matter what level they are, from high school to Little League, it doesn't matter what level it is. It's just kind of we need to see a little bit of a better effort. But it's a great shot by Tobias Harris, so you can't hate on Tobias Harris, and kind of that 1-2 game with him and Joel Embiid. As much as I love Jason Tatum, I just don't like that shot all the time. He scored it over Ben Simmons. But let's kind of continue looking here. Jeff Teague. I think Jeff Teague's going to be a huge addition to our team. I think he's going to help us a lot in that point guard position when Kemba Walker's out. See Marcus Smart making a tough shot. We see Ben Simmons try and make a play, gets a turnover, and then... Tobias Harris is still going to be a problem. Seeing here Grant Williams passing it to Jason Tatum, complaining about and ones again. Like, to be honest with you, I think that Jason Tatum, there's some games where I'm like, yes, you know, Jason Tatum is going to be kind of a superstar, going to be in the league for many years to come. And then there's just shots like that where I'm just like, you know, it's not a bad shot, but I think that you could have gotten a little bit of better looks. I mean, you know, you see how, like, deep in Tobias Harris is at this point. You know, not really, you know, looking to recover. I mean, you could see that, like, if Jason Tatum did make that pass to Jaylen Brown, that could have been, you know, quick closeout. You then attack, and then, you know, Jason Tatum either go into the short corner here. Let me look on my mouse here. You know, go over here somewhere. Or if you want to kind of chill in here as Jaylen Brown attacks, then you can kind of fill in the lane. Robert Williams kind of space out a little bit. I mean, that could be another thing created from that. But, you know, like I said, you know, you paid the big bucks to Jason Tatum to make those shots. So, you know, for the most part, I'll be happy about that. But I think that there could have been a lot of better decision-making there. So I need to see a little bit more growth and improvement from him at this point. You know, Robert Williams is going to be fun throwing those alley-oops too. I think that's something that we should be looking forward to. But at the same time, let's make sure that this is not like the focal point. The one thing that I saw, and it's unfortunate that my video got blocked because we talked about it with me and my boy Brad, is that, you know, as much as, you know, John Collins and Trae Young, they want to look for that alley-oop pass, it's not always going to be there. Teams are looking for that. So, you know, with Robert Williams kind of being that high flyer now, hopefully that creates opportunities for other guys as well, that, you know, teams are going to collapse in and be like, oh, shoot, you know, we want to stop the lob, and then you kick it out to the three-point shooters, and they're able to get better looks. But let's continue kind of looking at the highlights here. I mean, Tobias Harris still going to be a great player. I'll be curious to see if the 76ers decide to keep Tobias Harris or if they're going to trade him. Just because I know that the 76ers are looking for anything to get a superstar. I mean, if you got to get James Harden, I think you got to say goodbye to Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons. Because I think the Houston Rockets are asking for way too much, and we're going to see them probably ask for Tobias Harris. I mean, Tobias Harris could be a great stretch big for them in that offense that the Houston Rockets like to run with Silas. With Silas kind of still adapting to that three-point shot or bust type of mentality. So, I think that's what you're going to see from him. And so, you know, we'll see if that's going to make. Let's see if this trade even happens. You know, that's something else we got to talk about as well. You know, Jeff Teague making a great play there. Or sorry, not Jeff Teague. Excuse me. Who's number 26? Don't tell me. I don't even think they have the numbers on here for these guys. But I do think that when it comes to, let me see if I can. I think it's Javonte Green, unless he's number 43. Doesn't even show their number. That's the one thing I hate. It's like, show me their number. But nevertheless, I do think that this is going to be a very interesting scenario as it pertains to the 76ers and the Celtics. I mean, we're going to continue to watch a little bit. Ben Simmons, great finish. I mean, the one thing that we can't criticize Ben Simmons for is finishing around the rim. I think he's probably one of the better forward guards, point forwards that you could say in the league. So I think that, like, when it comes to that, like, I have no doubt that Ben Simmons can create offense in the half court, just coming off pick and rolls and just attacking the rim. The one thing that I criticize him for, and, you know, you can see it even in this game, is that the three-point shot, he hasn't attempted any. He hasn't looked to even be a threat to take any. So it's like, you know, why would I even care that Ben Simmons is out there? As soon as he steps in the three-point line, then it's like, all right, I'm going to play some defense on him. I'm going to actually, you know, kind of go to him. Meanwhile, you know, when he's out in the three-point line, like, why should I even, like, you know, try and chop my feet and try, you know, close you out if you're just going to not shoot the ball? You know, Jeff Teague, again, going to be a very good player for us. Good finish. Tobias Harris again with the ball. Like, that's something that you'll notice for the 76ers as well, is that, you know, Ben Simmons, although is the point guard of the team, he is definitely not the one, you know, taking up the rock. I mean, we see here Ben Simmons going to be kind of in the post, or sorry, on the post, but in the corner, not really going to be doing much. Obviously, this was just a quick transition, and Shea Milton is basically the reincarnation of Lou Williams. I think that's what Doc Rivers was looking for. So, Milton will definitely have a great season as it pertains to kind of some six man of the year candidate type of deal. I think that, from last year and even to this year, he's improving tremendously. Milton, giving us problems already. Jeff Teague. Like I said, going to give us some great minutes when we get to the regular season. Milton just absolutely killing it. I will be, let's see. I don't know what his contract status is, but he would be a great player to have on your team. Definitely has that Lou Williams vibe to me. A little bit of a hook there. Good finish there. I know that this is kind of a long highlight, and I apologize for that. But just kind of want to talk about it a little bit, and we'll kind of put the volume a little bit lower for people so that it doesn't blow out their eardrums. But Tyrese Maxey also played in this as well, and I'll just kind of talk about him. Tyrese Maxey played a very great game. I think that the one thing that you can say about Tyrese Maxey is that he's going to be the next kind of Devin Booker or Jamal Murray type of player that's like, okay, how did this guy fall in the draft this far? 21 is way too low, in my opinion, for Tyrese Maxey, who I thought could have been at least a top 20, top 15 type of player. I mean, I think he's going to show in this league that he can be a star player, depending on how he, gets his jumper ready. I mean, the one thing that you will notice about these highlights is that when he does take his shots, it's usually taking like this little like mid-range pull-up. I mean, we'll see if this is here. Okay, we'll show it here, right? Mid-range, like, kind of floater pull-up there. Tyrese Maxey, obviously not the biggest guy, not the strongest guy, and not even the fastest guy. And we'll talk about the Celtics once we're done talking about a little bit of the 76ers. But we're going to watch again Tyrese Maxey here doing another kind of shot put, like, floater. I mean, that's kind of his bread and butter at this point as it pertains to it. See Graham Williams shoot a three there. We're just going to kind of skip a little bit. Good finish. Again, kind of like that nice little running jumper. I mean, that's something that Tyrese Maxey is going to be known for, and I think Tyrese Maxey is actually going to be a very good player in this league. Like I said, teams, I think, were looking way too much into the clutch sports situation. I think they weren't really looking at like what he could bring to the table. And I think he can bring a lot, and I think that's something that these teams need to understand about Tyrese Maxey. So as we continue to see him grow and develop, like I said, I can see him being a Devin Booker, Jamal Murray type of player. So in my opinion, I think that he was a guy that teams really should have went for, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. So we'll see what happens from here on out. And so for people that are watching post-stream, let me know what you guys think of Tyrese Maxey at this point. I think he's going to be a great player for the 76ers. Milton, obviously, a great six-man or kind of scorer off the bench that could really definitely help. So, I'm curious to know and curious to get your guys' opinion on Tyrese Maxey. Now let's move on to the Boston Celtics. So the one thing that concerns me is that if we look at the box score a little bit here, let's kind of get the total rebounds comparisons. I believe rebounding-wise, this is assists we were down on. Rebounding we're about the same. And then turnovers, I believe we led the game in turnovers with 19. 19 turnovers. I understand it's preseason. I understand you're not playing the starters for very long. I mean, Taco got 9 minutes, who's not really a starter. You got Robert Williams, who's playing 18. It looks like he's going to take Daniel Theis's, whatchamacallit. I think he's going to take his position at least, I think. Kemba Walker not playing. Tristan Thompson not playing. Marcus Smart playing 22 minutes, Jason Tatum only playing 22, Jaylen Brown only playing 22. So a lot of our starters aren't going to play that much, and obviously these guys didn't really play that much either on the other side. But what concerns me is the turnovers, man. We need to get this stuff under control because the plus minus that we had is a -9. Meanwhile, they had a 9, and I think that just came down to the turnovers. I mean, Jaylen Brown had 4, Jason Tatum had 3. Marcus Smart had 3, Taco had 2. I mean, these are just not going to cut it. I mean, the ones that aren't going to cut it, of course, are coming from Taco, Grant Williams, Jeff Teague, not too bad. Peyton Pritchard, still a rookie, still growing, but 16 points. We're going to be talking about him in a little bit and why I like him so much and why I think he's going to be a sneaky, kind of under the radar type of player. I think he's going to have that maybe not that Tyler Hero effect, but maybe more so like that sort of surprise rookie that could give you some quality minutes off the bench. I mean, when we look at guys like Peyton Pritchard giving you 21 minutes, you got guys like Carson Edwards giving you 17, not really giving you much points. I believe he only gave you 2, so I don't think Carson Edwards is really going to be, handling the situation for us. Romeo Langford's still hurt. It's just getting to a point where I'm just getting sick of it. I would love Romeo Langford to kind of play and grow and develop because I think he could be a good player for us. I mean, it's kind of like a backup three-point shooter for us. Aaron Naismith, our draft pick, played okay, shot 3 for 8, scored 8 points, so it wasn't too bad. But Semi Ojeleye also did not play very well. Marcus Smart played, didn't really play his best. Jeff Teague gave us some good minutes, but still, as a plus-minus, did not really do the job that we needed to. Grant Williams, I think, gave us a -8 as well. So, I mean, we're going to see what happens, man. I mean, this is going to be a fun situation as it pertains to the Boston Celtics. A couple players that I did like from this team, of course, were Peyton Pritchard, 6 for 10 shooting, 16 points, +1. I believe had 4 rebounds, 2 assists. So I think that Peyton Pritchard's going to be a really good player for us and could be sneaking his name in for like an all-NBA rookie first team, I think. If he can kind of have the minutes here, like I don't think I'm expecting him to have 23 minutes or 21 minutes. But, the 15 to 17, if he can get that type of minutes, excuse me, I think that could be a great move for us as we continue to move forward and kind of look at the growth and development of players such as Peyton Pritchard. But we'll see what goes on here as it pertains to the Celtics. I mean, I wasn't too impressed by the game. I think we could have played a little bit better, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a fun scenario to see how the Celtics can kind of perform, how they can do, because right now it's just not up to snuff. And so, like I said, like Jason Tatum's looks like he's going to be playing the same way they did last year, which doesn't encourage me as a Celtics fan. Jaylen Brown was 1 for 11 last night, so I mean that's not going to cut it either. So he needs to step his game up. Hopefully, whenever they play next, I think tomorrow. I don't even think tomorrow. I think they play Thursday, maybe. Not even Thursday, huh? But they do play Friday against the Nets, so we'll see if Boston can kind of grow and develop their game. And so we'll see what happens with them. Like I said, I'm not too impressed with the Celtics at this point. So my worry is that we're going to lose out and we're not going to be top 5 in the East. We're going to be like top 6. And if that's the case, if I'm not seeing the growth and development from that, then it's going to be kind of a scary scenario. Hey, Yoy. How's it going, man? So what we've talked about so far was kind of the 76ers, how they looked. I wasn't too impressed with Ben Simmons. It seems like Ben Simmons is going to be the same player from last year, not taking too many threes, not even taking a 3 at all, and just kind of a lot of turnovers on his part, going to the low block, not really being a threat from the outside. So I think we're going to see kind of the same old Ben Simmons. But, Shea Milton, Tyrese Maxey, I think that they have some good quality players off the bench. That could definitely give them some great help. So we're going to be seeing that from the 76ers. And the Celtics at this point, I'm scared that we're not even going to get top 5 in the East, and we're going to kind of falter a little bit. And so I think that's what we're going to get. So the 76ers lost, they won yesterday, 108-99. I mean, I'll always have beef with Ben Simmons because, like, the reason why I do is because I expected him to kind of be the LeBron James that we know and love now. Like, I expected him to kind of be what we saw from LeBron James in his rookie year. I was expecting him to kind of work on that jumper. You know, it's been almost 3-4 years right now. Drafted in 2016. It's 2020 right now. And I haven't seen the growth and development that I think that, you know, warrants him to be an all-star. Like, you know, he could be a great player. I'm not going to deny that he can be a great player without a jumper, but by adding a jumper, by not getting distracted by FaZe Clan, by getting distracted by all these type of distractions like video games and other stuff like that, it's fine in your first couple seasons. But, you know, now it's your 4th season. You want to take that next step. And I just haven't seen that from Ben Simmons at this point of his career. I haven't seen really the growth and development that I expect him to be. And I think that he's going to get traded about the end of this year because, you know, they look the same old with, you know, Embiid looking a little bit healthier. We'll see if he can stay healthy the whole season. That's kind of been his knock or his concern. And I would love to see Joel Embiid kind of finish out the season because I think he could provide a lot of help and a lot of scenarios where it can help the team grow and develop. But at the end of the day, it's up to Ben Simmons if he wants that because Joel Embiid does, and we'll see what Doc Rivers does, man. I think that Doc Rivers is going to trade one of them, and I think more than likely it's going to be Ben Simmons at this point. But let's move on to talking about some other scenarios here. You know, James Harden kind of focusing right now just on being here. I think that James Harden used his leverage the wrong way. I think that he's using these preseason games to warm up and get back into shape because, you know, he looks so out of shape. I mean, we saw the photo yesterday. If you guys kind of joined me in the late night stream, he looked out of shape. He didn't look like he was into it, and that's a concern for me if your players are not really into it or not really concerned with how they look weight-wise. Let's see, if the 76ers look bad by the deadline, maybe one of them gets traded. I think Ben Simmons gets traded, or they try and make that trade for James Harden. And I think Ben Simmons has to go, and I think they're going to get Tobias Harris too because, I mean, if I'm the Rockets, why would I not want Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons? Because, you know, as much – but the thing is with that is that, like, you kind of neutralize John Wall because John Wall is going to be kind of upset, I would feel like, if you bring in Ben Simmons. I don't think it's going to work out too well with Boogie and Ben Simmons and John Wall. You know, with John Wall and Ben Simmons fighting for point guard spot, when you know that John Wall isn't a three-point shooter, I think it's just going to be bad news bears. So I think the Rockets would preferably want Joel Embiid, but we'll see if we can get that. You know, the one thing that concerns me too, Eoy, as I talk about the 76ers, is just the health of Joel Embiid. Because Joel Embiid right now does not look like he's like, I should say he looks in shape, but doesn't look like he's in the best of shape. And I think that with him, he needs to be in really great shape in order to make sure those knees and his feet don't get hurt. And that way he can, you know, prolong playing a lot of games. Because, you know, when they try to tank, when they try to do those things, it ends up being bad. So we'll see what happens. Let me know in the comment section down below. Or if you guys are live with me right now. Oh my goodness, the yawns are coming for me. Let me know what you guys think of Ben Simmons and his game and, you know, what they could be doing. Let's look at this one. This is a kind of an interesting story here. Oh, you were in the stream last night? Yeah, he looks huge, man. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily true. Do you think that Boogie and B can coexist, or will they swap? I think they could coexist because I think Boogie and Joel Embiid are similar players. I think that they can stretch the floor out if they need to, but also play down low. I think that, you know, the Houston Rockets, as much as I think that, you know, trading Ben Simmons would be the right thing, I just don't think that Houston necessarily needs those players. They would love to have those players. You know, I would want Tobias Harris out of all of them because Tobias Harris can stretch the floor and can create a lot of opportunities for other guys compared to a guy like Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons. But you do bring an interesting point up, Eoy, that, you know, they do have, you know, Boogie Cousins and John Wall, which are players that, you know, technically the Rockets kind of have. I mean, obviously not the same, but I think it would be very interesting. That would be a nasty front court. Boogie Cousins and Joel Embiid. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a great front court, but I just think, like you talked about, I think it's going to be hard to kind of have them coexist and to kind of have them fit in the same type of scheme or have them fit in the same game playing together. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. Like I said, this is going to be a very interesting scenario to see what's going to be going on with the 76ers and seeing how they're going to be doing the season, I'm not too confident, but I have been proven wrong many times before. I mean, this isn't going to be the first time or the last time where I'm proven wrong, but I just don't see it working with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and I think that you do have to trade one of them. Do you trade him to Houston? I'm not sure, but I think there's a lot of other type of places that I would trade first before taking that player. Well, let's look at this real GM from ESPN, Brian Windhorst. So at one point this offseason, Giannis showed management of the Milwaukee Bucks text messages from stars on rival teams who appeared to be recruiting him. Antetokounmpo was set to enter his final season, existing his project were to decline Milwaukee's Supermax offer. I mean, I think it's interesting that he showed the text. I mean, I think the Milwaukee Bucks saw the text and were like, okay, maybe AD is looking for him. Maybe, Kevin Durant or the Warriors, Steph Curry, Draymond Green. I mean, these are things that, I feel like as Giannis, it's definitely one of those things where you look into it and you're like, does this make sense for me? And I think that in some regard, I would think that it would make sense for a guy like Giannis to go to a team where he can win a championship. But at the same time, I think he made the smart move in securing his future. And we'll see what the Bucks do. I mean, the Bucks promised to bring in a lot of players, to help Giannis Antetokounmpo win. And we'll see if they live up to that promise. That's the one thing that worries me about the Bucks is that I think that as much as I think Giannis loves Milwaukee, I still think that the problem is that I don't see that growth and development in terms of management is going to really help them. I don't think they have the necessary tools or the facilities. Not like the the facility in terms of like the arena or the practice facility. More so like the tutelage or the ways to get those players that Giannis wants to play with in Milwaukee, because Milwaukee's a hard place to sell. I mean, it snows. These superstars, as much as we like to criticize them for being prima donnas, I too would not like to live in a place where it snows like every winter guaranteed. I would like to, live in a place where it snows every once in a while, but doesn't really create a huge problem for us. I mean, unless excuse me, with these superstars, they can afford a chauffeur to drive them in the snow, or they can create their own little atmosphere where they feel comfortable. But we'll see what happens. I'm not sure about this one. I mean, do you feel like it's a low blow if you're texting Giannis separately and you're trying to, create a plan? Does it suck that he traded information or he showed the information to the Bucks? Like if you're Paul George or you're AD and superstars send you those type of text messages, like would you share that with them, or would you keep that private and be like, well, let's see what we can do? Sources say Giannis never advocated for any teammates' departures or tried to mastermind any moves. It sucks, man. I hate the snow. I get a little depressed in the winter. I mean, I feel you on that. I mean, the depression for winter, I feel like in Seattle or any place that snows is just kind of, I just feel like it sucks because, we look at here, it's raining right now, like the whole week. Like unless you have an overcover basketball hoop, especially, as there's lockdown mandates here in Seattle, the gyms aren't open. You can't go inside and play. I mean, this is just kind of creating an atmosphere where I think a lot of us are kind of frustrated with. You think Giannis is kind of petty for doing that, Sean? Do you mind saying why? Why is he petty for doing that? Like, do you think that that's something that he should keep within himself or between his teammate or between friends? Let me know, like, what you think about that, because I'm really curious to see what you say about that. I mean, at the end of the day, I think Giannis has the right to decide what he wants to do to improve his team. I know that Victor Oladipo and Bradley Beal are kind of thought to be kind of guys that they're looking at getting. I mean, I could see them getting Victor Oladipo because I think he'd be the easier one to trade out of the two. But we'll see what Indiana Pacers like to do, man. I think that they're kind of in a situation where they're not necessarily too bad to tank, but they're also not necessarily too good to go for a championship. I think that they kind of have some pieces, but I don't know. Feels like he was mocking people who were honestly trying to reach out to him. I mean, I could see that. I mean, I think that when it comes to a guy like Giannis, I think that what he's really looking for is just someone that can really provide him the tools, provide him the area where he feel like he can go and win a championship. I think showing this to Milwaukee, I mean, this is now going to be up to Milwaukee to kind of realize and kind of understand, like, look, we have the superstar player who says he's going to sign a supermax with us, basically be in his prime for us. So I think we need to step up, and I think that's kind of what he did. He allowed the Bucks to kind of have a scenario where they can grow and develop, rather than a place where you see Giannis be like, you know what, I appreciate my time in Milwaukee, but I don't see you guys really helping me out. I would love for Giannis to win a championship. I think that's probably the next move. But at the same time, it feels like he's kind of a guy that wants to, financially secure his family. He just had a kid. He has a wife now. I just think that these are kind of the big moves that he's making to secure his future. And we'll see if he, let's see what he does as it pertains to him kind of growing and developing, kind of being that next superstar. Let's see if he can take over the mantle as LeBron's understudy, or even, kind of take the mantle of being the next superstar player in this league. I mean, with LeBron James almost going out of the league in a couple years, I think that's what's going to be interesting to see if Giannis can get to that NBA Finals or even to the championship game and get, a result. And so we'll see what happens there. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys make of the Giannis thing? Do you guys think it's petty that he showed the text to the Milwaukee Bucks? I'd love to know your guys' comments and opinions in the comment section down below. The other kind of interesting news, or kind of sad news as well, is that Gordon Hayward again fractured his finger. It's just kind of one of those things. Gordon Hayward has suffered an avulsion fracture on his fifth finger on his right hand. I'm assuming that's just a broken pinky, I think. I don't know. So this is kind of a setback, and I feel bad for Gordon Hayward in this sense, because I think that he's looking to prove a lot of Boston Celtics fans wrong. He's trying to prove me wrong. He's trying to prove the Utah Jazz fans wrong. I just think that this is a scenario where we see Gordon Hayward. I just think that he needs to. I don't know. Like when I watch the games with him, like he's not a bad player for the Hornets, but at the same time, the Hornets right now, they're really a team that really should be looking to grow and develop rather than trying to go to the playoffs. And I think this by signing Gordon Hayward, I know that Michael Jordan likes him because he almost got him in the first year where he was a restricted free agent until the Jazz decided to match his offer. I just think that that's one of those scenarios where I don't know why anybody wants to pay him the max. Like he's a good player, not a great player, and I just think that paying him the max is not something that I would do. It's not something that I recommend. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and we'll see. What the Celtics, or sorry, what the Hornets do as it pertains to him, because right now LaMelo Ball is playing really good right now. Miles Bridges, you have Terry Rozier is also playing not too bad. PJ Washington, of course. LaMelo Ball kind of showing out and showing everybody how it's done. So, at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. I'd love to know your guys' comments and opinions in the comment section down below. We'll see what happens. But let's kind of move on to ESPN. There's not really that much to talk about here. Luka has the odds-on favorite to win the MVP. We'll see. I'm not really convinced on the Mavericks. I think they are a piece or two away from contending. So we'll see if they can get that piece. I mean, it'll be kind of hard to kind of figure out if that's going to be the case. I think there's one more thing I wanted to see here. LeBron and AD are going to make their preseason debut on Wednesday. So that is tonight. So I believe, who did I say they were playing? They're playing the Suns. So if you guys are interested, it's going to be on NBA TV if you have that. If you don't, you can find a live stream somewhere, I'm sure. But let me know what you guys think of the LeBron James. We'll kind of go over their preseason game, see how LeBron James plays with Horton Tucker. If Horton Tucker's even going to be in the rotation this game, that'll be a fun one to watch as well. But, we'll see what happens. But I think other than that, there's not really much. The other story that we wanted to kind of talk about here is, of course, we have a couple rookies kind of looking to sign that extension. We have guys like Kyle Kuzma, Markelle Fultz, Lonzo Ball. Their contracts and restricted free agency are coming up in this year. And the teams have to decide whether or not a guy's worth the supermax. And so let's go over it a little bit. John Collins is one of those players. I think he deserves, a little bit under the max, but still not a bad player. OG Anunoby, I would say maybe, but I don't know if he's worth the max money. Lonzo Ball, I think that we're going to see how he's going to do. We're going to see what's going to happen with him, because we know that the Pelicans drafted point guards, and we'll see if Lonzo Ball can stay in New Orleans and kind of grow and develop with Zion, or will he be shipped off and traded to another team? We'll see what happens with that situation. But then we got Derek White, who I think I really like. I think he could be a really good player for somebody. We'll see if the Spurs kind of match that offer for him. Who knows? Then you got Jonathan Isaac, came off an impressive season, then got hurt. I mean, that's kind of the sad scenario of Jonathan Isaac. So we'll see if he's going to grow and develop. I think this is going to be a fun free agency class. We'll see if Markelle Fultz deserves it. Larry Marketing. We'll see if people are going to pay out the wazoo for him. Zach Collins, Jared Allen, Luke Kennard, Josh Hart, Malik Monk. I mean, these are a lot of players that the teams are looking at and seeing if they're worth the max or not. I think out of everybody in this list, I think that there's only a couple guys that are worth the max. And even then, it's probably just one. Maybe two. I would think it would be Jonathan Isaac and also the Atlanta Hawks, because they do have John Collins. And we'll see what happens with the other person that I just talked about. OG Anunoby as well could be getting a max. But I think Jonathan Isaac should be able to get a max. I think he was a really good player. He really helped the team a lot, even though he did get hurt in the bubble. I still think that he can add a lot of value to the team. So we'll see what happens, man. I think this is going to be a fun free agency class. I think this is going to, I should say a restricted free agency class, because they're not necessarily a free agent. They're more restricted. So, I mean, we'll see if people are willing to pay the max price for some of these players, like Markelle Fultz. I'm not sure if someone's going to pay the max price for him. Larry Marketing, not a bad shout. I mean, he's still kind of suspect on defense. Like, I'm not really sold on him. Jonathan Isaac, I think, is pretty solid to where I think a max would be warranted, especially if he plays well. And then, of course, you got OG Anunoby, who deserves one, and, of course, John Collins, who I think deserves ones as well. But, I think it's going to be an interesting scenario to kind of look at and see which players are going to go for it, which players aren't. And we will see in the near future what is going to be going on as it pertains to the rookie class from 2017 and seeing like what money they're going to get. We saw that Jason Tatum got his money. We saw Donovan Mitchell get his money. Now it's going to be a matter of time before Lonzo and all these other players get their money. And we'll see what each player's worth. We'll see what each player gets. But at the same time, it's going to be an interesting scenario to kind of figure out. But anyway, let me make sure that there's no other kind of story here. The Magic exercised the 4th year option on Mo Bamba. The Bucks would have considered trading Giannis by the deadline if he declined the Supermax. I guess. I don't know. I think they should have just traded him, because, like, what are you going to do? You're going to sign him, you're going to keep him, and then, or sorry, not even sign him, you're going to keep him, and then what's after that? He leaves, and then you're stuck with nothing. So, at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. I'm not necessarily too impressed with the Bucks right now. I think that they are a couple pieces away from being a real contender. We'll see if they can get those pieces. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough because they don't really have that much to give. But I think that they will find a way to give some sort of, stipulation or some sort of player or picks to really suffice the team to really, try and trade him. But at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. But anyway, guys, I think that is going to do it here for the Charge, unless there's any other breaking news, which I don't think so at this point. Let me just make sure. We got freaking, what's his name? Trevor Lawrence. Kind of chilling his thing. Let's see here. Nothing here. Let's go to the NBA really quick. Just make sure that there's no news here. The Athletic. We kind of talk about the kind of the rookie class. Does Kyle Kuzma deserve one as well? That's another question that people have to ask. I don't think Kyle Kuzma deserves a max, but I think he deserves, a nice little bit of something in his contract. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if that's going to be the scenario that the Lakers go in. There's a lot of things that the Lakers could do at this moment. So, like I said, guys, that is probably going to be the end of the show. Really appreciate you guys once again for joining me here on The Charge. Again, this is the daily live stream where we go live at 3:35. And because we started a little bit earlier today, I'm going to end it just a little bit early. I know that a lot of people were expecting a little bit of more extra time. But maybe let's watch a little bit of a video. The one thing that we can watch maybe is the one player I did want to highlight. I want to highlight a player of the day, and I believe it's Kyle Guy. I think that's his name. Kyle Guy just went off yesterday. I think he did a really good job. We'll see this Kyle Guy highlights, because Kyle Guy looks like a player that could be me and Coach Cooper. If you guys don't know Coach Coop, he's also another friend of mine that coaches with me as well. He works. He's joined the staff that I work with. Great guy, great basketball mind. And, we were kind of going back and forth on Kyle Guy. I wasn't really too convinced. I saw a little bit of him. But once I tuned into the Warriors Kings game, then I got very interested in a guy like Kyle Guy, who actually did really well. So we'll go to the regular time. The one thing I will say is that we will go to the regular time. I want to highlight a player of the game or player of the day and kind of show you guys who we like, who we dislike in terms of players. And this was kind of my player of the game, and Kyle Guy was it. And you know what? I want to watch some James Harden highlights. So after Kyle Guy, we're going to watch James Harden highlights just to see how we did in yesterday's game.
Show up early, stay late, really dive into the art of what is the NBA as Kyle Guy just raining threes. You see Kyle come off, little dribble. Yo, you going to leave me alone? You might not want to do that because this is what I do for a living. James cross-court Guy. They close out on him quickly.
Look at that. That to me is a great pass and a great cut. Look at this move right here. Nico Mannion falling asleep on defense. The player recognizes it, and you see the backdoor cut, and we see the fake by here, right? Fake a pass to make a pass, right? Fake the jump shot to make a pass here. You get, I believe this is Pascal, if I'm not mistaken, number 43. No matter who it is, this is a great play, right? Gets that separation. Creates that little up fake to get this guy biting, and then you see this guy kind of slanting in here. Nico Mannion falls asleep, boom, dunk, and finishes. That's a great play. And Kyle Guy Kyle Guy, I want to call him Kyler, but it's Kyle Guy, did a great job there on that play. And this shows you, the audacity to take that shot, the courage to take that shot. I mean, this is an insane shot. 5 seconds left. Off the spin move, Nico Mannion guarding, gets the guy on the fake, and boom, makes it. That guy fell for the same fake so many times. By this point, I thought he would realize, okay, I'm going to stay up and stay straight. This is textbook 101. To be honest with you guys, if you're a big, if you are taller than 6'5", and you're playing the big position, no jumping. Absolutely no jumping. I understand you want to get the block. I understand you want to get a highlight play. But in order to preserve the game, to show your teammates that you're willing to, be disciplined, the fact that he jumped right there, I don't know what he was thinking. Because then you get Kyle Guy, who, had a pretty good game, 6 3-pointers in the game. I mean, he played a really great game, and we're seeing some great things from him, and that was a great shot. So Kyle Guy is my player of yesterday, and he did a great job, man. I think that me and Cooper, when we talked about it, he just played tremendously. So Kyle Guy gets my praises, and now let's watch some James Harden highlights and talk about kind of the James Harden situation that happened in terms of. Let's see here. Let's watch House of Highlights. Obviously, this is from the NBA, so we're going to watch a little bit here. See some James Harden highlights. Let's see here. Let's watch a little bit of the highlights here. So let's see James Harden looking like Kimbo Slice out here. Whap. I mean, the thing is with his game, it'll translate to no matter what weight or what size he is, because his ability to create space, his ability to do all these moves is definitely reliant on just, savvy veteranship and not really much athleticism. I mean, obviously you need a lot of athleticism to kind of step away and kind of create that separation between your defender and you. But at the same time, I don't see James Harden having that issue. Great pass, I believe, to House. Great pass to House there. Make sure we don't get that copyright strike. Good finish there by Harden.
As an offensive coach later on. And 17 years there of being an assistant coach. There's Harden with a long-range three.
Ugh.
Look at what James Harden's been doing over the last 8 years in a Rockets uniform. Just one-on-one, cooking guys, trying to guard him.
I mean, that's great. I mean, that's just better offense.
There's a steal by Harden. Harden puts his body right in front of the defender and knocked out of bounds. Harden.
If James Harden was 20 pounds lighter, that's a dunk.
Puts his body right.
Instead, I don't even know what he was doing here. I mean, this is kind of a rusty play. You know, on a fast break, you know, basically 2-on-0, or sorry, 1-on-2. But you know, with your advantage having the speed, like if he keeps it up instead of brings it down, I just don't think he saw this defender here, or he saw Marcus Aldridge come in and help, because he really should have finished that. And that's, you know, that just comes down again to not really paying attention, not really being in shape, being in Atlanta, not really working on his game. I mean, the thing is, and the rumor is that James Harden basically got his way in Houston, right? And he calls the culture of Houston toxic. Meanwhile, he's the one that created this culture. He was the one that wanted these players, wanted Chris Paul, wanted Clint Capella, wanted Dwight Howard. And the Rockets gave him everything that he wanted, and he still can't win. And now he wants to trade. It's like, Harden, you're the one that created this culture and atmosphere. So why are you, punishing, or why are you mad at the Houston Rockets when they basically gave you everything that you wanted? That's what I don't understand about James Harden, is that, like, they basically did everything that you wanted. They gave you the players that you wanted. They gave you the system you wanted. They gave you the tools to succeed, but you can't use the tools to succeed, so you blame the tools. You blame the Rockets organization when really it should fall on you. And that, to me, is just a prime example. Looks out of shape again in this photo, or in this video.
Was ahead of both players. See how James sort of slows up to get a little space, but Aldridge with the poke check right there. There's another steal by Harden. 3-on-1 fast break. Cross court to Eric Gordon. Cousins with the rebound. Cousins up and in.
Boogie Cousins.
That was a good quick shot because he had Cousins.
And that's basically the highlights, guys. I mean, there's not really that much to kind of talk about for James Harden, you know. I mean, this to me is the story right here from Tim McMahon. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. You know, the Houston Rockets, two owners that were basically willing to give him anything. I mean, this is kind of a member of the 2019-2020 coaching staff. If they had multiple days off, everybody knows James Harden's going to fly somewhere else and party. But he knows he's going to come back and have a 50-point triple-double, so they're okay with it. I mean, I'm not a fan of it. The toxicity of James Harden absolutely runs rampant to whatever team he's on. I mean, if I'm a teammate of him, if I'm PJ Tucker, if I'm one of these, Daniel House, if I'm Robert Covington, like why, and even John Wall and Boogie Cousins, who aren't even familiar with him, if I'm those guys, why would I want to be playing with him? Why would I even want to be here in this scenario? If James Harden is not going to respect me enough to be out there, work his butt off, even on days off, why should I play with him? If I know that all I'm going to do is just stand, and if he decides to pass to me, at the rare time that he does, you're telling me that the Houston Rockets culture is toxic when you're the one doing the toxicity? Nah, man. The one thing that I'll put James Harden in the same kind of boat as Kyrie Irving as it comes to toxicity. You create the toxicity. You're the one who creates these scenarios where these players and these coaching staffs, you want to put some stuff in. You're not here practicing. You're not here really developing the game plan. If I'm Mike D'Antoni, I don't know how the hell you agree with that mindset. Steve Nash didn't do that. I know Steve Nash was in the film room. I know that Steve Nash was studying the playbook. I know that he was studying film on his day off, that he was in practice with the players, making sure that the other guys get to know him. Meanwhile, James Harden, goes off to LA, or sorry, not to LA. He goes to Atlanta. He goes to Las Vegas, parties it up with little baby and the group that he's with. And, I just don't. I don't like it. I think that at the end of the day, it's a toxic culture. James Harden needs to own up that he created this toxic culture, and he either needs to demand a trade or I guess he already is demanding a trade, but more so, if I'm the Houston Rockets, I'm looking to trade him. I mean, without saying it, because to be honest with you, I think the Houston Rockets could do so much better. And I really think, like, he won the MVP year. I think he really didn't go to a strip club. I really think he didn't. I don't think that he went to one strip club during his MVP year, or he went far less than he did, in these past couple years. It's just disappointing to me that I know that James Harden can be such a great player, can be a player that could really carry a team to further great depths. And I'll go back to that that Western Conference Final game between the Warriors and the Rockets, missing 27 threes in a row. Him contributing to those misses. He could have been in the NBA Finals again, but with the team that he had with Chris Paul. I just don't believe that James Harden is like not taking care of his body, not really taking care of himself, not really with his teammates, and it just creates a toxic culture that I'm not here for. As much as I love James Harden, as much as I think that he's a great player, at the end of the day, it's a frustrating thing if I'm James Harden, or if I'm his teammate. It's a frustrating thing to see if I'm the Houston Rockets, because at the end of the day, James Harden calls you out. Meanwhile, you're the one who gives him everything. So I think the Houston Rockets did it absolutely terribly, and James Harden needs to look in the mirror and be like, is it really me who's toxic? Is it really me who needs to really check myself in the mirror and say, okay, it's my fault, or I need to do a better job, maybe go to less strip clubs. But either way, it's frustrating. But I think that's going to be the end of the episode, guys. I know I went on a Rockets tangent after we talked about Player of the Night. Kyler Guy, again, is Player of the Night. And it's just one of those things where it's frustrating to see that, James Harden, who could be a great player, is actually just not playing very well. Or, he got 12 points, but... And his game, like I said, it's not predicated on athleticism, it's predicated on the wits. And he has tremendous basketball IQ. I think that he probably has one of the highest basketball IQs out there, but the toxicity of the off the court stuff just, to me, drives me like far away, and that's not a player that I even want to deal with. But at the end of the day, guys, let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think of James Harden? Do you guys agree with what's going on in Houston? Do you feel like Houston enabled him to do this stuff, or do you feel like James Harden is kind of doing whatever he wants? Let me know in the comment section down below. But anyway, guys, thank you once again for joining me here on The Charge. Again, going an hour long each and every day, Monday through Friday, to kind of talk about the NBA news and rumors. I know that on Tuesday we didn't go over an hour. We only went like about 34 minutes, and I apologize for that. But if you guys are interested, if you give me 1 second here as we kind of continue here. Thank you once again for joining me here on The Charge. Really appreciate everybody that came through and watched this episode. Remember to hit that like button. Also remember to hit that subscribe button. Also remember to follow us on here. We have The Charge, the YouTube channel, The Charge Stream for Twitter, and also The Charge Stream for Instagram if you are interested in that. But like I said, guys, anyway, thank you once again for joining me here. We'll catch you on the next episode. Let me know what you think of the stories that we talked about. Of course, we talked about the Ben Simmons. We talked about the Celtics. Not really looking forward to that. This season, just because of the injuries and what the team looks like. Can Ben Simmons coexist in Philadelphia, or will he be traded? That's the biggest question. And now we talked about Player of the Game, or Player of the Night, and Kyler Guy. And now we talked about James Harden, the Houston Rockets, and seeing that, James Harden needs to step up a little bit more. But anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie. Thank you once again for joining me here, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.
Delivered to the altar with a bow on, don't wanna prolong, but I'ma make this one to grow on, so you MCs after me won't have to feel the agony. Muscles that are not used will atrophy, so we move craftily, hoping for my happily ever after. Perhaps the next will be a better chapter, with maybe laughter. You won't have to leave that light, and you can finally get some sleep at night. Sleep at night.
How do you sleep at night, knowing that your girl's at home having sleepless nights? How do you sleep at night, not knowing how you'll make money to keep on the lights? How do you sleep at night with knowing? How How do you sleep at night not knowing? How do you sleep at night with knowing? How do you sleep at night not knowing?